So in this video, I'm going to be completely raw and just completely transparent about just my entire journey as a growth operator. My bank account right now would probably make some people feel very uncomfortable. But the reason why it doesn't make me uncomfortable is because I feel like I understand something that most growth operators and just people that are in like marketing and sales, really just an online business, um, don't understand. I think a lot of people don't really understand this. And I'm going to go into that, the idea of being financially broke, but rich in opportunity. And just my whole entire journey on what that means to me, um, and just how I've been able to experience that firsthand, throughout the year, realistically, and even now. You know, the first thing I want to talk about is my income now versus 2 months ago. 2 months ago, I just had one of the most successful launches that I've ever done for one of my clients. It was around my 23rd birthday. Um, and it was just great. Like, so much attention to detail, so much preparation went into that launch. And even just going farther back than that, like a couple years ago, like there was a point in time when I was running my SMMA agency. And just like in that business, I had so many like really good months, and then I had really really bad months. But going back to that most recent time, a couple months ago, 2 months ago, when I just had one of the most successful launches for one of my clients, you know like it was so great. I took home so much money that month, and it felt amazing. And I was doing things, getting Airbnbs and going out with friends, not even friends, just going out in general. I don't even have friends, but like just going out. And it felt great, and then thinking to where my income is now and where I'm at in business right now, it's such an awkward time. It's such a weird time, but I'm not worried. Even though that I'm not bringing in as much money as I was a couple months ago, and even though things aren't really going the way that I wanted them to be going, especially now that we're ending the year. I thought I was going to end the year in a completely different situation, but that's okay. Yeah, I'm going to get into that. But the gap, when I was making a lot of money, I was able to do things that just brought a sense of enjoyment to my life. And now that I'm not able to do those things, and I had to realize as well, like, where do I find enjoyment and where do I find pleasure, and like, what do I find to be important? And that opened my eyes to a lot of different things as well. So why am I sharing this, right? Like, why am I going into depth on, you know, yapping about me making more money that 2 months ago than I am now, or me not making as much money now that I was 2 months ago? The reason why is because I think being broke as a growth operator, or being broke as someone in the online space, is completely different than being broke with a regular 9 to 5. One of them has a ceiling, and one of them doesn't. Being broke with a 9 to 5 job, it doesn't really matter like how much more you put into the job. Like, it doesn't matter how much more energy you put in. It doesn't matter like how much, much more time you put in or anything like that. You're still constrained, like you're still going to get paid at the same time. You're still going to get paid the same amount per hour. Some jobs even cap you on overtime. Like, they don't really even allow you to do that. So like there's a ceiling there. But when you have a skill, or when you're making money online as a growth operator in marketing, sales, whatever it is, there's no ceiling. Like, you can change your situation tomorrow if you wanted to, or if you wanted to make more money, you can do that. There's not necessarily anyone that's keeping you from making more money, or anything keeping you from making more money. And I think that's why, being broke in those two situations are completely different from one another, right? And I think a lot of growth operators lie about their numbers. A lot of people lie about how much money they're actually making and how much profit they're taking home. Um, And I just want to be fully transparent, like there's months where I make a lot of money. I make great money, I make 10K profit every single month for the last couple of months. And then, you know, things go wrong, launches go wrong. They don't go as planned. And then, clients don't want to run ads. And it's the only person to blame is you at the end of the day, as the person responsible for that, because it's my job as a growth operator to make sure things go right. If things go wrong, then that's only going to instill fear in my clients. So yeah, I just wanted to share that because nobody really talks about that middle place. That you're not really making a lot of money, but you're not necessarily broke. It's like always fluctuating. It goes up and then it goes down and then it goes up and then it goes down, but you have immense opportunity. And that's why you don't necessarily feel broke. You don't really feel like you don't have anything, right? Because every day is a chance to be able to change your situation. But when you have a 9 to 5, it's not that. It's like, every day is just another day, and you just got to keep going. And then once you get paid, you get paid, and then you feel better, and then you run out of money, and then you feel shitty, and then you got to wait to get paid again. And I think that's why it's not really ideal to be in that situation. Like, I'd rather be broke with skills and opportunity than be broke with a job, like a 9 to 5 job, um but like, I want to talk about why. Like, why does my income fluctuate? Why does it go up some months and go, down some months? Um, and the reason why is because, sometimes I just make bad decisions. Sometimes I try things that don't go right, and sometimes it's a lack of attention to detail on my end. And those are learning lessons, like you have to be diligent when you're working on your clients. You have to be mindful of the work that you do for them. You have to be mindful of, just everything. If you're not, then you can't necessarily be confused or like why did I get those results? Why did that happen? It's like, bro, you didn't really put in the attention to detail. You didn't do what was required, and it happens. It happens, and you have to learn from those mistakes. And that's what I do. Like the months that I don't make a lot of money, it's usually because of a mistake I made. It's usually because, or sometimes it's because we're preparing. Sometimes we have to revert back and start building shit, and it takes time to get things filmed, to build things out. And that causes us to not make money. The time of the year, Q4, I made a fucking mistake before with one of my clients before the end of Q4, and basically costed us the entire Q4. Like, we really didn't make shit, and that was unfortunate because I was supposed to make a good amount of money with that client. But again, you live and you learn. Like, I could sit here and bitch and say like, oh man, I should have made this, I should have did this, I should that. But it's like, hey, yesterday is yesterday, and tomorrow's tomorrow. If I, God willing, I have tomorrow, then I'll be able to do this thing again. I'll try it again and see if I can do it right. But yeah, like that's a reason why my income fluctuates all the time. Also, because I focus on my clients versus finding new ones. I could make more money every single month if I wanted to, just by signing new clients and getting setup fees. But I don't want to do that because I want to focus on driving results for the clients that I have, and if I'm just focusing on signing new clients every single month, then I'm just going to put myself in a deep hole where I'm not going to be able to do fulfillment, and everybody's getting mediocre service delivery, and that's not good. That's only going to, bring a business down at the end of the day. I want to do good fulfillment. I want to bring good results to my clients. I want all my clients to be making consistent multiple six figures per month, and I take a large revenue share of that, and that's what I want. And I'm willing to bite the bullet and go through the inconsistency to build up my clients, because I believe I did a good job at finding the right clients, and signing the right clients. And I believe they all have the potential to do multiple six figures. Um, and that's really what I'm focused on, and I believe that's another reason why my income fluctuates, because there's months where I make a good amount of money because I signed a client, and then also took some rev share, and that added together. And some of the times, I don't sign new clients because I'm not focused on it, and I don't take rev share, and that's why my income dips pretty well, um, and then also too, like I talked about, just the phases of where your client is. Like if you make a mistake, sometimes you got to revert back and fix shit, build shit, rebuild shit, and that takes time. Sometimes when you sign a client and you think that you could come in making money right away, and then you realize there's a bunch of shit that you gotta change up. That also takes time, and that those are all reasons as to why my income fluctuates. But me being completely humble, I make mistakes. I'm as a growth operator, I make mistakes. Launches don't always go accordingly. Sometimes they completely fucking flop. I'll make another video on that, and on a major flop. But like it happens, and you can either just sit and bitch about it, or you can do everything you can to make it better, and prepare for the future, and don't do it again. That's essentially what I try to do. Um, the reason why I'm able to have this mindset and really see it through is because I keep God at the center of everything. I was very much a egotistical person. I was very much, someone that just thought they were the shit. Sometimes I still have those moments where I think I'm the shit and I just have a super big ego. Um, but I'm trying to just come to the understanding, and I'm almost there. I really am there. It's God's business at the end of the day. It's not mine. And I thought it was mine for so long. And I think that's why I face a lot of problems that I don't necessarily have to face, because I view it as my business. I view it as like it's all mine and I have to figure it out. And when in reality, it's God's. He blessed me with the opportunity to steward this business, and help people help their business and make them more money. And in return, I'll be blessed from that, and I think me really just surrendering the business to God, surrendering myself to God, and understanding that He's in complete control and that everything's going to happen for a reason. If a launch doesn't go accordingly, it's probably because there's things I got to understand, there's things I got to learn, there's details that I really got to pay attention to, and I just have to trust in that. I try not to get upset, but that's really been so helpful to my mindset, and me being able to just persevere and push through those hard times of not making the money that I wanted to make as a growth operator, because I love this shit. I love this. I love helping people. I love marketing. I love sales. I love putting things together. I like systems and stuff like that, and I really, really want to accomplish big things, dude. Like bigger than multiple six figures a month for my clients. Like big. Like I want to help people on large scales. And I think the only way for me to be able to truly achieve that is by understanding that God wants this done a certain way, and I have to follow that. And I want to talk about the difference of anxiety and then peace and uncertainty. Like I think when you try to do business without God, you're going to experience high levels of anxiety. But I think once you allow God to enter into your life, and when you allow Him to enter into your business, it shifts from anxiety to like complete peace and uncertainty. Like, yeah, it might seem like, what's going to happen, or when is more money going to come in, or, I'm working my butt off for this thing. I hope it pays off. Like, but you have peace in that, because you know that God is in control at the end of the day, and whatever is in His will is going to happen. And He's never going to put you in a situation where it's just so difficult and you're not going to be able to handle it. And that, just having that understanding has really, really helped me. But I really want to go into detail too, just like the idea of, being broke with a 9 to 5, and then being broke with a skill. An example I want to use for this is a couple of years ago. I want to say maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, maybe like 4 or 5. Maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. Maybe 3 or 4. I don't know. I'm bad with time. But if you guys follow me on Instagram, you guys know I used to run a window washing business where I would door knock people's houses and I would wash their windows by hand, inside and out. Super extensive business. I was not good at that shit, but I made money. And the only reason why I started doing that is because I was super broke one time. I was super broke and I couldn't wait for my paycheck and I needed to do something. And I was good at sales. I had already sold solar. Prior to that, I was trying to make my marketing agency work at the time. Um, and I took my skills, made some business cards at Office Depot or whatever for like there's like $20 for 200 of them or whatever, thin business cards. Named it Prestiged Window Washing, and the Instagram is still up. And I was door knocking, and I was pitching people for like $19, $20 a window, and I made like $1,600 my first day, my first week, if not my first week. But like my point being is, you see how you could have only changed that situation leveraging a skill. Like if I didn't have those skills, then I wouldn't have been able to change my situation, right? And that's the beauty and the difference of being broke with a skill or opportunities than being broke without a skill or just a 9 to 5, right? If I was just relying on my 9 to 5, it really doesn't matter. I would have had to ask a friend or a family for money because I'm just waiting for my job to pay me, right? Or some of those jobs, some jobs allow you to like take some of your check early, right? Like I know some people that would do that. I would have had to do that, you know. But that's the difference. Like just to really drill that home, like it's there's a huge difference in being broke with a 9 to 5 versus being broke with a skill. And if you get irritated by that, like that should only drive you to learn a skill. Like you need to learn a high value skill because in the moments where you are like just stressed out because you don't have enough money or you don't have this and that, like you're not really going to be able to leverage anything. You're just going to be looking for more hours at work, but even then you're still going to have to wait till they pay you. So it doesn't really help you, right? Like imagine you were broke as fuck and you needed money right now, $500 by the end of, the weekend. So you got 2 days. What are you going to do? That's not illegal, right? You're probably going to look for side jobs, side gigs, right? You not leveraging a skill. But if you had a skill like sales or whatever, you can start cold calling, go door knocking, do whatever. Like you can make the money because you're leveraging a skill. It will be hard. It's going to be hard work, but you could do it, right? And so like just I really wanted to drill that home. But obviously I just broke down, like my income 2 months ago versus now, why I'm sharing this, the idea of being broke with a 9 to 5 versus being broke with a skill, and being able to leverage the skill a lot better to get out of that situation versus being able to leverage the job. And then being just rooted in your faith, being rooted in God, and how that makes this journey 10 times easier and better, right? But I want to talk about what I have planned, what's in the works. So if you've been following me on Instagram, I work with, basically my clientele is consisting of a fitness coach that has 150,000 followers online. We reach about 6 million accounts every 30 days. And then I work with a variety of Airbnb arbitrage coaches, a total of 4 of them. And that's my current clientele. And moving into the upcoming year of 2026, my plan, I'm dialing in VSL funnels for all of my clients. Before we were kind of just doing like just one-off offer launches with their organic audiences and then using webinar funnels for all my clients. But I'm really trying to dial in the consistency of the traffic and then throughout the year hosting webinars and whatnot. That's essentially what's coming up. My plan, again, for 2026 is just to really pay attention to all the mistakes that I made this past year with my clients. Like I just broke down, the reason why I'm making this video is because my income's fluctuating, right? I have really good months with clients and then I have really bad months with clients. And I don't want that. I want really good months all year long. So I'm going to be just heavily paying attention to detail. I'm going to be bringing on experts, people that are experts at what they do, because I know that the more just like-minded people that I have involved with the clients and just the more high quality work ethic that I have involved with the clients, the more money we're going to make. And that's ultimately what I want to do. So that's the plan moving into 2026. But yeah. And I also want to say too, like, I don't have anything to sell you guys. I don't have a course. I don't have a program. I don't have anything like that. Again, like I said, this channel is really just to document my entire journey as a growth operator, working with my clients, the launches that I'm doing with them, the raw reality of everything. Like I just mentioned, my income's fluctuating up and down, like good launches, bad launches. I'm actually going to make another video showcasing a launch that flopped and just what I'm doing to better that. But I understand that there's a good amount of people out there that, you know, you guys have been a lot of you guys have been DMing me on Instagram, asking questions like how to land your first client. I don't know. I'm probably not gonna make a video about that because I don't want to be that guy that's just talking about how to get clients. I want to be the guy that talks about how to get your clients results. But yeah, if you guys have questions or anything like that, you can DM me on Instagram. I'll try to make videos responding to them, or you know, if you guys have topics you want me to talk about, I can go ahead and make videos responding to them. But if you guys are, if you're a growth operator or if you're an info product owner and you have an active offer that you're managing yourself, or you're trying to look for someone to help you scale it, or maybe you're a growth operator looking for help in the space, you know, you can go ahead and go to the description below and book a call with me. Just fill out that survey and then book a call. It's not a course, it's not like a module or anything. If you're a growth operator, I'm basically just going to give you access to everything I'm using on my clients, and then we'll just be working intimately together, and we're showcasing each other what we're doing with each other's clients, or with my clients and what you're doing with your clients, so that way we can help each other and provide value in that way. And then if you're an info product owner and you're looking for someone to actually manage your offer and help you scale it, and you want to see if we're a fit, you can definitely book a call and we can talk a little bit more about that. And you know, we can see if I can help you. But kind of going back into it, right? Like, the whole idea of this video is really just to get people to understand that, like, being broke isn't a bad thing. It just means you're building. Unless you don't have a fucking skill or any opportunities, then it is a bad thing to be broke. It's a really bad thing. You should be focused on changing that. But if you have opportunities and you have skills and you're like in process of building something, you know money's coming, but it's just consistently fluctuating, like, you have to stay grounded and understand, like, those moments are necessary. They're needed. It's to shape you as a person, it's to shape you as a business owner, and it's to make you more appreciative of the moments when you are making the money that you want to make. And really get grounded in God. Get grounded in God. Keep him first in everything that you do, especially in your business, and that's going to make going through those times of like uncertainty a lot easier. It's not going to make it 100% like perfect, but it's going to make it a lot more easier and a lot more feasible for you. I promise you it will. And I want you guys to understand too that failure comes before success. Like, every single time I've eaten shit, I've really learned so much from that moment, and I've applied it to the next launch, to the next, you know, strategy, to the next system, to the next client, whatever you want to call it. I've always applied. I've learned and applied, learned and applied, learned and applied. Because if you're always eating shit and you're not learning, then you're not going to get better. So if you're this type of person that's just like, I'm always eating shit, nothing's getting better, it's probably, you have to self-reflect. It's probably you. It's probably you not taking a step back and understanding, what am I doing and what do I need to change, right? So that's exactly what I told you guys. Like, what's next for me and my 5 clients? It's understanding what the fuck went right this year, what went wrong, how can we replicate and expand on the things that went right, and remove the things that went wrong. Simple as that, you know. And I just want you guys to take that away too. You know, if you're a growth operator, if you're an info product owner, and you're just in this space where you're like, fuck, bro, like, sometimes I have good months and sometimes I have bad months, and I just want more good months, you know? We're all there. Trust me. Like, we all want good months, but it's all a part of the process, and it's necessary, as long as you're taking the time to look back, to reflect on what's going on, the mistakes, and then improving on it moving forward. Okay? Like, you have to make those bad times useful, because if you're not making usefulness out of them, then you're pretty much just fucking yourself over, and you're going to keep experiencing those bad times. Okay? So just wanted to share that with you guys. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. This was a much longer one. I really just appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm going to be dropping another video next week, as we're heading into 2026. Next week is New Year's Eve, around there. So I'm going to be dropping a video around that time. Go ahead and drop a like, hit subscribe. If you have any suggestions or questions, whatever you want to share something, drop it in the comments below. I'll make sure to respond to them, or I'll make a video on it. But yeah, guys, just keep making money, and I'll see you guys next time. All right. My bank account right now would probably make some people feel uncomfortable, but the reason why it doesn't make me uncomfortable, uneasy, or uneasy is because I feel like I know something that a lot of growth operators or info product owners or just people in this online space don't really know. And in this video today, I'm going to break that concept down. And it's the concept of, being financially broke, but being rich in opportunity, and what that actually means in my experience with it. So my income 2 months ago versus where it is now is completely different. Like 2 months ago, I was just getting off one of the biggest launches that I've ever done. I made a shit ton of money with one of my Airbnb arbitrage clients. We just did a webinar. It was around my birthday time. It was super, super great. And fast forward to now, it's just super inconsistent. And the reason why is there's a various amount of reasons. It's due to bad mistakes that I made, just a bunch of different things. But that gap, like the things that I was capable of doing then versus now, like it's such a substantial difference. And it really does make you realize, like, damn, like I very much favor the time in my life where things were going right and I was making the money that I want to make. And if I want to go back to that time, I have to be aware of what made those things go right and then what made it go wrong. Right. And take note of that, take inventory of that, and do better moving forward, you know? And